Hello and welcome to Mark 1 Photography. My name is Mark.
Oh, hi Mark.
And I am a photographer located in mostly sunny Athens, Greece. I also happen to be the only photographer by the name of Mark on the entirety of YouTube. In this first video, we are going to explore 4 lenses from the Zhong Yi Optics Mitakon Speedmaster series, specifically in the 50mm full-frame equivalent focal length. This includes the 25mm f0.95 for MFT, the 35mm f0.95 for APS-C, the 50mm f0.95 for full frame, and the 65mm f1.4 for 44x33 medium format. With these lenses, f0.95 bokeh became an affordable reality for the mainstream, whereas before one would need to either search for legacy glass on eBay or dish out 13K for a Leica 50mm f0.95 as shown here by Kai Wong in the Digital Rev days. Before we move on, a shout out to our sponsor, Honey. Honey is a free browser extension that helps you
Anyway,
This episode is actually sponsored by my sister's cat, Gizmo. Gizmo is an asshole. We will go over specific aspects of these lenses, starting with build quality, but let's also get acquainted with every lens by itself. The 25mm f0.95 is designed for the Micro Four Thirds system. Due to the crop factor of 2, in full frame terms it works out to 50mm f1.9, which doesn't sound like something to write home about, yet it's one of the fastest options available for MFT. Here you can see it mounted on a Panasonic Lumix GX9. It has a full metal construction and weighs in just a bit over 250 grams. Mounted on the GX9, the total weight comes up to just over 750. My copy came with slightly loose screws which I needed to tighten. The lens arrives in a pretty decent leatherette case. The front filter size is 43mm, which is not so common. As all the lenses in this episode, it is an externally focusing lens, which means that its length changes as you turn the focus ring, which is a bit disappointing, but to be expected at this price point. A peculiarity with the 25mm is that it comes with a back lens cap that is almost twice as deep as for other MFT lenses. This cap will fit other lenses fine, but the 25mm can only use its own back cap. Generic MFT caps will not screw on. Before we move on with the 35, let's take a look at some image samples from the 25 to see how it renders. The Mitakon 35 Mark II is available for APS-C mounts including Fuji X, Sony E and Canon EFM. The full frame equivalent amounts to 52.5 f1.4, nothing unheard of in the world of full frame, but not attainable in the crop world before the arrival of f0.95 lenses or speed boosters. My copy is for the Fuji X mount and you can see it here mounted on Fuji X-E4. Again, this is a full metal construction. My copy with a third-party metal hood and filter adds up to 450-ish grams. Mounted on an XC4 with an L bracket attached, the combo is almost a kilo. However, your combo might be lighter than this. It is a hefty lens for APS-C standards. I highly recommend you get a hood like the one from Cult that I have on here to help reduce unwanted flare. The front filter size is 55mm and it's once more an externally focusing lens. I find this to be one of the most pleasantly rendering lenses in my arsenal, but don't take my word for it. Check out the samples that follow. The 50mm Mitakon is now at its third iteration. Here you can see the copy for Nikon Z mounted on a Z6. In retrospect, I should have bought the Sony FE version to be able to mount it on both Sony and Nikon via adapter, but as they say, hindsight is 20/20. With this lens we're getting into heavy territory, almost 900 grams. We also get the thinnest depth of field of the lot. True f/0.95 depth of field. Contrary to the first two, it doesn't come with a leatherette case, but a pouch. It does come with a plastic hood, which is reversible. The front filter size is a more common 67mm. Besides Nikon Z and Sony FE, this lens is also available for Canon RF and Leica L mount. As with its siblings, you are getting a metal mount but no weather sealing, which is unsurprising for a third-party lens. Rotating the focus ring again affects the physical length of the lens. In other words, this is not an internally focusing optic. Stay tuned for 40 seconds of image samples from this lens on the Nikon Z. At the top of the range lies the Mitakon 65mm f1.4. Now this lens is obviously not at f0.95, but at f1.4 it's still the brightest G-mount lens available. An actual f0.95 for G-mount would be an absolute behemoth and would probably weigh around 2 kilos. In full frame terms, this works out to 51.35 f1.1. So it comes second to the 50mm in terms of depth of field. This lens is one of the few that comes natively in Fuji G mount and appears to be designed specifically for medium format. Here you can see it on a Fuji 50R, but a Hasselblad version also exists. On its own it surpasses a kilo, whereas attached to the 50R you will be getting a workout. Like the 50mm, it comes with a pouch. It extends when adjusting focus and has a front filter size of 72mm. It also comes with a very shallow metal hood, which is the most impractical hood I have ever seen. It cannot be attached if you already have screwed on a filter, so you'll need to attach the hood first, then drop the filter in, and try to rotate it till it's fixed, which is an exercise in frustration. In all likelihood, I'll never remove this hood again in my life. I faced quality control issues with my copy, namely a dent in the hood. Support was really hard to contact, but after asking around in the comment section of a Richard Wong video, I was lucky enough to get an email I could contact from Richard himself. I managed to get a replacement hood, but instead of a dent, this one had a small scratch. All I can say is your mileage may vary with regard to Mitakons and quality control. In the section that follows, you can see some image samples from this lens mounted on the 50R.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
It has now occurred to me that we are past the 10-minute mark, and ain't nobody gonna stick around for another 10 minutes of this. So I'm calling this part 1. Join me in part 2 for more aspects of these lenses, including bokeh, maximum magnification, usability wide open, usability stop down, value for money, and overall ranking. In the meantime, if you like this video, remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram. Or else.
Or else what?
Exactly.
Comment below if you know which anime I referenced with the title cards. And also gear used in this video is linked in the description. These are affiliate links that at no extra cost to you support the channel in making
$100 billion. Gentlemen.